Am I live right now? All right. Let me see. I think people are checking in. Hey guys. How's everybody's night going? No stress, right? Everybody's chilling. Whew. Yeah, this is a lot. Okay, so everybody's joining. I just want to say real quick, I know tonight was supposed to be, a live with me and Karen and Zach, but if you guys just watched, you could see that, like, hey, what's up? You could see, long story short, he's not coming because he's really mad still about the slap that happened, and you can't really fault him. I know the slap was intense. I know it just happened. I still am a little bit traumatized. And we were supposed to talk about it, but I don't think he's ready to talk about it yet. I think, Devale's a great actor, and he really be in it. And so I just think he's a little hurt right now. I'm going to have to apologize next time I'm in person with him. Tonight was incredible. That's funny. I'm glad you think so. It was a lot. It was a whole lot. Look, y'all, I'm not tech savvy, so bear with me on this, but I see there's a little question section here. Ooh. So there's some people on my side. Y'all would sue him. Some people would sue him. Yeah, there's definitely some people on my side. I was hearing a lot of things a little earlier in the evening that, like, I was wrong for hitting.
Oh.
You good?
Nah, I think my tooth, you knocked my tooth out.
I didn't do anything, to be clear. You remember? You still look good. You still look good.
Thank you so much. You look great.
Thank you. I'm dressed down for the occasion.
We both are. I'm saying I'm just here in my white.
You always in t-shirts. Yeah. And Deadass is coming back for a 5th season, no?
Yes, ma'am. Deadass coming back.
Deadass coming back. So while we're acting up on the show, you guys could go figure out how functional relationships work.
Exactly. That's what we can try. We can all try to figure it out because there's a lot going on. It's a lot going on.
A whole lot going on. So did you watch tonight?
I did watch. Just got finished watching.
How you feel?
Feel kind of hurt. I ain't gonna lie, man.
Why you hurt? I'm hurt too, for the record.
I'm hurt because, and I'm strictly speaking as Zach, right? I'm hurt because you would just assume that I would do that.
But isn't it assumption if the bank told me that you did it?
But fraud is fraud. Someone could have been fraudulently portraying themselves as Zach.
Who would do that to you?
I don't know.
You got enemies that Karen doesn't know about? Is that what's going on?
Zach who got enemies? He got mad enemies. You know what I'm saying?
Like who?
Pam, for one.
Pam is not your enemy. Pam loves the shit out you.
Love me. Pam love
her
me.
nosy self.
To bring Andy.
Wow, you think my friends framed you?
Yeah, your friends.
Some people think it was the preacher. I'm looking here. Some people think, why would Aaron do that? Aaron is a God-fearing man.
Aaron is sneaky, bro. We don't know enough about Aaron yet to give him a pass, bro. We don't. What do we know about Aaron, bro? What do we know?
Okay, how about we do this? How about we take a couple steps back and we kind of just evaluate where Karen and Zach are right now, because I think the slap is clearly a focus, as it should be.
Yes.
But, there's some other stuff going on.
Like what?
There's some, first of all, can we just clear up for the record that, like, they really haven't been together this whole season from, like, the beginning?
No, they haven't.
Yeah, they haven't. Like, after the whole hospital thing, they weren't together. When he busted in the hotel, they weren't together.
Exactly.
So you take responsibility for being a weirdo and busting in a hotel, and
I'm not a weirdo for busting in a hotel. I saved your life.
You brought a screwdriver.
Somebody got to look after you. If
You
I
brought a
don't show up,
screwdriver.
you won't be here.
No, that's not true. You didn't show up to protect me. You showed up to protect yourself.
Everything Zach does is to protect Karen. Everything. Everything. Speaking of showing up,
accountability. Let's talk about it.
The pastor be showing up all the time at the wrong times. He's never been where he needed to be when he needed to be.
I will say, but you know why I think that is? I think it's because you know Karen more. You've had 3 years with her. Right. It's something true about when you know somebody for a long time. It's like a sixth sense, right? You just feel it.
So you should trust me when I say that I don't trust Aaron.
I believe that's the truth. I believe you don't trust him. But
he's
given me no reason to doubt him thus far. What'd you say?
What? This be my point. This is what people be blind. He gave you no reasons to doubt him? None? The fact that his wife shot herself
no direct reasons. No direct reasons. You know, there's something called a domino effect, and I think sometimes things happen outside of a person. Like, there's a lot of domino effects in Karen's life, you know, that she tries to avoid, and things just happen, like pop-ups, like you popping up. Like, I didn't call you to come, you know, that was the choice that you made. You know, Aaron popping up at the door sometimes.
Let me ask
you. Yeah.
Popping up in my hospital room don't alarm you at all? He ain't on my list of emergency contacts.
He was checking on me, though.
Hospital room.
Look, I sent him away.
I don't trust none of them. I don't trust none of them. I don't trust Aaron. I don't trust Hayden either. Hayden a little sneaky. Stack up too.
He's a little sneaky, but you know, you are messing with somebody that you know.
I ain't messing with nobody. Zach out here trying to do his thing. Zach out here in chain breaking, trying to make his money. Zach grinding. Think about it.
He's grinding. You're right about that. Zach is grinding. You are absolutely right about that part. Zach is always grinding. Exactly. We were talking about double standards the other day. Actually, you just brought up a great point. Okay. We were talking about double standards. What, yesterday? The interviews we were doing.
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about that?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk.
Because, you know, I think there's this misinterpretation, you know. Remember that dude, Rico? If you don't, it's good. It was a guy that Karen, you know, would see.
That you jump off. When Karen had to jump off. That everyone conveniently forgets when it was all about, oh, Zach was cheating on Karen. True. As if
not true.
But yeah, I remember that, yeah.
The point bringing up that situation is, you know, she would call him when you guys were not together. You did cheat. That's a different thing. Cheating is a different thing. Why is it okay, you think, the direction that both of these characters are moving? Why do you think that people have the suspicions, and why do you think they accept the things that they accept right now? Like, what I mean, for example, is a lot of people are suspicious of Aaron, and I think a lot of that has to do with timing and the fact that things were still kind of murky and muddy with, you know, Zach and Karen. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot less suspicion surrounding you and she who will not be named.
Oh, you don't even want to say her name? You don't want to say her name?
I don't know what it is.
I'll say her name. Her name is Fatima. And the reason why...
Less F, please.
Less F? You want me to say Atima? Like, which?
Yes, say that.
Atima? Like...
Say Atima, because the F stands for what y'all been doing, but go ahead.
So, here's the first thing, okay? And we did it one time, all right? Don't put that on me. We did it one time.
Have I done yet?
No, I stopped that. That.
So you're allowed to sleep with somebody, but I'm not allowed to sleep with nobody?
Well, I never said that I wasn't. You the one that said you wasn't, so you're a liar.
But I wasn't until you dropped him off at the house and said, take him, and you were out, deuces, and then you went to Danny's house. You forgot about that?
No, I didn't forget about that. I remember that. But what I also remember is you saying, Zach, I got this, Zach. I don't need no help, Zach. And then calling me and saying, Zach, can you bring my clothes over? I remember that. You don't need Zach You don't want Zach till you need him. And that's the problem with you, Karen. You be over Zach until you want something. And then when you want something, it's, oh, call Zach. Somebody call Zach. And Zach's supposed to come over there. You know I ain't got no car. I ain't had no car at the time, but you called me to bring your clothes. How am I supposed to bring your clothes over there, Karen, and I ain't got no car?
Supposed to Uber.
You know Zach ain't got no money. So I'm supposed to spend money to take your clothes over there, and you don't even want to give me no money? But your man's got a car. You ain't call him. You called me, though.
Yes, because we had a great conversation, or so I thought.
And he gave me a ride. The only reason why he was there because he gave me a ride. I wasn't gonna walk your clothes to Sabrina's house.
He did show up at a good time. That was one of the times that he did show up at a good time.
Karen messy, yo.
You know what? I think they're both messy. So like, what is this whole thing about toxicity? Like, this banter back and forth is wonderful. Right. But I also think there is something to be said about the toxicity surrounding these two people and why they experienced it, which we also talked a little bit about yesterday on the interviews. But you know,
if we being serious for a minute, right? Just being serious for a minute, right? We talked about the double standard when it comes to dating and relationships, right? For example, if a man goes out and he says he wants to quote unquote sow his wild oats, it's seen as okay, right? Because the patriarchy has decided that it's okay for a man to do that, right? Is it fair? Grand scheme of things, no, it's not fair. But we've all been conditioned to accept that it's okay for a man to do it and not okay for a woman to do it. And if you watch the end of this episode when Fatima was talking about how she always keeps a stable, it kind of make you wonder how she's going to be received by people now, because she's talking about having a stable of guys so she can get a little bit of what she needs from each guy.
Did she say stable? Was that the word she used?
Stable. She said, you know, I keep a stable. I got a little stable. I got some people here. And, you know, I know some people going to be mad.
Right.
But all is fair in love and war, you know?
That's not true.
It is true.
No, it's not.
Honest, as long as you honest, is fair.
So add that part, though, because that part is definitely...
Like you, anybody, man, woman, should be able to do whatever they want to do in life as honest with their significant other, because now you're not taking their right to choose away. You know what I'm saying? So if I was...
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I like hearing you speak. Go ahead.
Oh, I appreciate it. That's why I love you, E. So no, but seriously, if a man or a woman says to their significant other, look, I don't want to be exclusive. I want to continue to date other people and sleep with other people. They shouldn't be labeled as a thought or a hoe or a dog or immature. They should be an honest person who wants to do what they want to do in life. As long as they're being safe and they're practicing, you know, safe sex and being honest, nobody should judge them. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. But the patriarchy in society is not going to let that happen for women. And we're always going to judge women more than we judge men. That's just the bottom line. And then you talked about toxicity and how toxic it can be. You know why? You know where toxic behavior comes from? Poor communication.
Yeah. That's definitely their number one issue.
Zach and Karen cannot communicate.
Do you think it was always like that, though?
What, between Zach and Karen? No, I don't think it was always like that. I think in the beginning, they probably did communicate, but at some point, communication was lost, because if we keep, Zach is not able to provide for Karen what he wants to provide. You know, like he's not in a position now where he can be the financial backing that she needs as a business owner. And you know, we talked a couple days ago. The vast majority of Black people don't come from generational wealth. So when you're trying to start a business, you need a burn rate. You know, you need money where you can make mistakes and do things so your business can thrive. If you don't have a high burn rate and you don't have no money to build your business, a lot of time those businesses go under before they get started. And for Karen, she's a starting, budding business owner. And here she has a man who's living in an apartment who can only make minimum wage working at, you know, the airport because he's an ex-con. So it started to probably get to Zach, and Zach was like, damn, I really can't be who I need to be for her. And it's hard for him to say that. And it's probably hard for Karen to say how she feels. So she just speaks down to Zach. And that's where the toxic nature begins. He can't be honest about not being able to fulfill what he considers to be his manly duty. And she probably can't be honest about not feeling protected. So then they start to act different towards each other. And this happens all the time in relationships.
All the time. And I think a lot of the passive
Mm-hmm.
aggressiveness with Karen towards Zach too is like exactly what you said, is not being able to express it properly, right? There's people people
Mm-hmm.
do things differently when they want to say a point but don't always know how to say it. And I think for Karen, a lot of the times some people would joke, right? Make a joke and slide a little
Yeah.
truth. But instead of
Yeah.
that, it's the opposite. And that didn't, I don't think that that has happened overnight. I think that's happened, um, the term of like holding somebody down, whether it
Mm-hmm.
be some, especially like in the black community, whether it be somebody who is a black man, a black woman, whoever it may be. I think one thing that we don't get to see in the show is the 3 years that they spent together and what that
Right.
looks like, what holding somebody down for a long time um, looks like when you are a black woman who very well understands how hard it is to be successful as a black person. And I think they've come to this place where something
Mm-hmm.
really out of that range, which is just the trust, at some point was
Mm-hmm.
affected. For me, I feel like Karen's Achilles heel really is the fact that she holds on to things. She's a type of woman who you can be transparent with about a mistake or about something that has happened in your relationship, which
Mm-hmm.
you don't necessarily know how that whole thing went down in the past because it was, pre season one, first
Right.
episode.
Right.
But the term strong black woman or the term just strong in general, that doesn't always mean bulldozing past, saying I'm good and bulldozing past things because
Right.
regardless, things are going to keep compounding. And honestly, you really do end up hurting the people that you sincerely care about and want the best for, but maybe they don't have the best or are the best versions of themselves at the moment. But the
So,
truth is, you know, you aren't either.
but
No
and I
best version of themselves at all times. It's not possible.
absolutely, but I think you brought up a point too about like black women, right? Especially black entrepreneurs, right? The vast majority of our viewers are
Mm,
millennial, right?
right.
Millennial, right? And I
Absolutely.
think black women have the highest rate of being entrepreneurs that we ever seen in this country, right?
Ever.
People understand how hard it is to build a business from scratch
Mm-hmm.
without having financial support. You
Right.
know, here's a harsh reality. Master P just was upset because Clubhouse got $1 billion valuation, and he said, black people don't support their own black businesses, but we'll support like a Clubhouse. We'll make it cool, and Clubhouse will go be worth $1 billion, and we just made another white family rich. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's completely true. In part because black people do support black businesses.
We
I've
do.
absolutely I've started tons of businesses. I've started over 6 businesses since I retired from the league, and black people always supported. What
Mm.
Master P realizes is that Clubhouse had a high capital because they had venture capitalists behind them, so they
To make.
had to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Saying so, like Clubhouse is new to us because it just became hip, but it's been around for a little bit, and they've had like millions of dollars. They can go to an uncle and say, "Hey, I'm starting this app. It'll be dope," and they'll say, "Hey, here's $10 million." They'll go to a venture capitalist and say, "Here's another 20 if that didn't work." Black
Mm-hmm.
people, and a lot of time our businesses fail, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because if they knew the 3 years that Karen was trying to build this business while also trying to support Zach, who's dealing with recidivism, they would understand her frustration. The one thing that
Recidivism is on here real quick.
so recidivism is pretty much the whole system in which people who return back to prison. So if a guy is released from prison, he has a higher chance of returning back to prison before he even gets a job. And recidivism is those, black and brown men who have to go in and out of prison. So here you are, a young black woman trying to build a business. You meet a man you fall in love with, right? He can't work certain hours because he's on probation. The only jobs he can take are minimum wage, but you want to be his everything. You want to be his queen, but you also want to be his peace when he comes in the house while building a business. And I watch a lot of people judge Karen and they say, oh, she's such a bitch and she's so angry. Imagine trying to build your own business and supporting the man that you love and not being able to get your feet underneath you. Just imagine how hard that can
Well,
be.
too, just to add to that, imagine being a black woman business owner who knows that if she falls, he falls with her.
Right.
Also, an accountability level that probably, I definitely don't talk about it enough as well. But there's definitely an accountability aspect as well because it's you know, it's not just her she's responsible for. And it's not just that she's responsible for. It's a whole, you know, salon full of people who are dependent on employment, you know, to keep them afloat. And they're all Black people, Black men and women.
Right.
So there's this pressure, and especially when somebody looks at you and says you have it all together, and to want to be the Black woman that has it all together, it's just,
it's not easy.
people hit breaking points, and the problem is they don't always know they're at a breaking point. That's the real problem. There's nothing wrong with hitting your peaks, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, needing to take breathers and stuff. But when you are somebody who, and this is something I struggle with, when you're somebody who doesn't know when you're stressed, when you're somebody who cannot identify your triggers, when you're somebody who is so go forward and build and create and expand and all these different things as a Black woman, you know, and I'm a Black woman under 30. So I feel like that's also a very specific thing in and of itself. But, you know, I have a lot of older friends who are in their 30s and their 40s, and thank God for it, that I have that guidance to say, you know, I was your age, or, you know, I was thinking the same way. But you also have to be able to identify, you know, how the world is affecting you, because the world is always affecting you if you cannot identify.
So let me ask a question. At what point do Black people have a moment to sit back to identify
Black,
that they,
yeah.
Black men and women? Because like I just spoke on what Karen was dealing with. Imagine being Zach, a young man who just got released from prison, meets the woman that he loves. He's working. Remember, Zach was working 16 hours.
Yes.
They minimum wage. So it's not that Zach wasn't a hard worker. He just wasn't able to get on his feet. So he's working and trying to bring something to the table. But now he's dealing with a woman who has triggers, because both of them deal with generational traumas. Your father wasn't there. Zach's father wasn't there. So neither one of them.
Just to say that Karen's father was there. If you
Okay.
look at the bonsai tree situation, it wasn't that he was
Right.
not there. It was that, you know, Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's a very different thing, to be able to sit back and witness what your household looks like. And to, you know, I think that has a lot to do with why Karen treats Zach the way that she does, because she like adamantly refuses, while actively still loving this man, that she does not want to have the same man, you know, as her husband that would like her father. You know what I mean? It's so interesting how people do things, right? Because instead of cutting things off earlier when you see certain things about a person, I'm not saying that should have happened, but you know, we love what we love. We love who we love, and nobody is perfect. It's so interesting to me.
But imagine being a man that is trying his hardest, legitimately trying his hardest to be everything for this woman, but because society has put so many mechanisms in place that he can't succeed, that he can't be the protector and provider that she needs. And even though he's working 16 hours a day, he comes home, all he hears is what he's not doing.
Right.
And that's where toxic nature comes from, because after a while, it's like, you know what? I don't got to take this shit, man. Or I'm gonna prove to her I'm a man. And a lot of men prove their manhood through sex. So it's like, I'm a man, I'm gonna go be a man to somebody else. But now you have two hurt people who are dealing with their own stresses and their own financial stresses, who are brought on by the things that happen in society, trying to love each other. And they don't know how to love each other because they've never seen a healthy relationship. That's Zach and Karen. Every Wednesday.
Eastern time.
Everyone, that's them trying to love each other, but it's like they're both wrong, you know, like, and neither one of them even have the tools to recognize that they're wrong, because your pride takes over, and now Zach is pointing the finger. Hey, it's Karen, and Karen's pointing.
So how do they even get them? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do people acquire those skills? Because everything is obviously experience. We learn the best through experience. People could tell us whatever, but we learn the best through experience. How do people acquire these skills?
Well, to be honest, it comes from mentors. It comes from people who lived before you, right? They say smart people learn from their own mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. I think our generation is one of the first generations to kind of discredit our elders, because we have instant access. Yes. We have more access to information than any generation before us.
True.
Right? So for young people, when they try to get information, they'll run to the computer. Before when I wanted to learn about sex and all that stuff like that, I ran to my uncle, like, yo, How do I do XYZ? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a girl, uncle, what do I do? If you have an older cousin, yo, uncle, like this is chick. But now, all of these young people watch Instagram, watch TV, go online and Google stuff, and they figure like, I know how to get this because I can see. But then they don't realize that the people that they're asking are no smarter than them. You're
I'm sorry.
asking.
I have to interrupt you real quick. You said you went to your uncle to talk about that. I'm just thinking if I had ever gone to my aunt to talk
Let me,
about such a thing, and then double standards just popped in my head. But continue.
let me tell you. I learned a lot about women.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah.
grandparents, my father, my uncles, because I wanted to know. And I didn't even just ask men. I had older cousins
With
who
girls.
came, they were girls. I used to stay at my Aunt Weezy's house, right? And she had 4 daughters. It was Celeste, Michelle,
Don't,
Lisa.
hey, chill. Don't drop
My bad.
names.
I dropped names, but
Bro.
older my bad, my bad. But these my cousins and I love them because I watched how they dealt with dudes. And I
Right,
used to,
right.
you know what? I'm not gonna be a sucker like him because that don't work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Cause
Like, and I
you got the scoop from both sides. That's called
absolutely,
unfair. That's not
absolutely,
fair.
I have to be able to listen to the people who you want to engage with. I can't go to my dudes to learn about women. They don't know shit about women. I got to go to
It's
women. And that's another thing. We don't want to listen to each other. Women will run to their friends to ask about men before asking other men that they trust. If a
Is
man
that
says
why Zach talks to Danny about it a lot? About
absolutely,
the whole Karen and
absolutely,
yeah.
that's why he asks questions. That's why he's always running to Danny because Zach wants to know.
So do you think that if Karen had a close male best friend?
Absolutely, it would help. No, I'm being so serious. If I'm Devale,
No, me too. Yeah.
about talking to a young woman, right? I would tell a young woman, you really want to understand men and you really want to understand relationships. Stop just asking your homegirls. How about you ask some men that you trust, who you value their opinion, what their thoughts are, and then don't be so quick to dismiss it if it's not what you want to hear. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
that's what happens. If a young man asks a woman a question about what she wants and needs, right, and she says something that he doesn't want to hear, I ain't listening to that. Women do the same thing. They ask men all the time, "What do you think about this?" And it's just because men don't agree with it, they'll dismiss men. Oh, they immature and young. But these are the men they date. So
They know better than the girls, that's for sure. Because each one of us has our own difficulties with each of these men that's on the show right now.
absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, we get to see it every Wednesday. Like the funny thing, people have reached out to me and just like, I know it's just a show, but you and Ebony's relationship on the show, I've been there. And
Yeah.
that toxic relationship, they're like, that's me and my ex-boyfriend. And I'm just like, that's a lot of people. We've all been in toxic relationships. I've been in toxic relationships before. I've been with Kadeem since I was young, but throughout high school, there was points where me and Kadeem were toxic. Like,
Mm. So you guys were able to grow past that
yes, because we were
because
deliberate.
you decided to.
Yeah, and see, that was,
That's the difference.
yes, yes,
There's yet to be that conversation between Karen and Zach where
yes.
everything is laid out on the table.
Mm-hmm.
All the things you're not over, all the little, things about the personality that just don't work. Even some of them are not as obvious as it seems, right? Like, obviously, they argue all the time. We got that. But, like, some of the things are not as obvious. Like the
No,
backstory, the work that we do as, like, actors. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people, they definitely don't know that stuff.
they don't know. It's a lot goes into creating and developing these characters. Like, I know so much about Zach that, if we did a flashback episode and y'all get to learn Zach, you would understand. If people got to learn Karen, they would understand that Karen
Mm-hmm.
is some evil woman who wants to talk down to Zach. Like, there were 3 years where Karen was trying to be as loving and nurturing to Zach as she could. There comes a point where it's like, I can't do this anymore.
So you
Like,
think they shouldn't be together right now?
no, they
You
should.
think they called it quits at a time where they should have?
The two of them shouldn't be together until they want to be deliberate about working on being better versions of themselves for each other. If they're not willing to do that, they don't need to be together. Not at all. You got to have that transparent conversation about what you need as a woman, what I need as a man, and say, you know what? If that's what you need, I'm willing to work hard for that. because I want to, not just because you saying it, but because I want to. And if I realize, you know what, I don't want to work to be what she wants, then I can leave, and you can thing. But
Wait, what happened that one time when we were on the couch and you were asking me about like Aaron? It was a really quiet scene. We were just sitting on the couch. You remember that scene?
Yes, I asked you. I
Yes.
said,
What did you say?
I said, what do you want, Karen? I said, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
You said, I want to feel safe. I want to be loved. I want someone that's going to hold me after sex. You know, I want someone that's going to take care of me and provide for me. And Zach,
Y'all, he be remembering what I say.
because I'll be listening. I'll be listening.
He's a listener.
So
no, but I feel like that scene is pretty, you know, telling of the way that their conversation should always be going.
Absolutely.
But it takes a lot of energy and a lot of openness to be that honest and to be
you
willing to be hurt.
But remember, Karen got up and walked away in the middle of that relationship. In the middle of that conversation, she got up and walked out. And then afterwards, Zach was finally going to be vulnerable, but only after she left, because he had to be tough while she was there, because that's his ego. I got to be tough in front of my woman, but then when she leaves, I can be vulnerable and say all the things I know she want to hear. That's
and
just
here's the thing too: people don't realize that Karen does the same thing in front of Zach.
Absolutely.
Karen is the type of woman who wants to be tough in front of Zach. You know what I mean? It's not something where being vulnerable has led to being hurt in the past in this particular relationship. So you honestly are just running in circles and fighting yourself. So it's true. Right now they can't be together, especially not after tonight.
No, it was tough. Tonight was tough, and especially when it gets to a physical nature, like any
disclaimer. Once it should not reach that level, but
if it does, two people should walk away, because understand that can't be the norm. Like that can't be. You can't just feel comfortable slapping a man, and a man shouldn't be comfortable getting slapped, because he may feel like he wants to slap you, and
as a woman,
that's just not acceptable. So once it gets to that level, it should be all gone. But look, I actually gotta go. I love this.
I'm not mad at all. I gotta wake up very early tomorrow.
Oh yes, right. We both do, because we back. I can't say nothing.
So you're gonna go, right?
Can't say nothing. Huh?
So you're gonna go, right? You gotta go.
Yeah, I do gotta go. Yo, make sure you save this live.
How do I do? I'm gonna text you right after this.
Make sure you save this live. Right when it's over, it's gonna ask you to post or share it.
I'm gonna FaceTime you right after this. I don't want them to hear you explaining to me how to use technology, D.
Y'all, let me tell you something about Ebony. Ebony is a 26-year-old woman, a 76-year-old woman in a 26-year-old person's body. She called me before this talking about something. How do I get on live? How do I get on live? Huh?
No, there was an update, and now it's different. I was doing a couple lives before, but there was an update. Stop it!
Where this button? I press this button right where the button. This button here that say live. Devale. Devale.
He's such a bully, y'all.
Devale.
Are you done? See what I got to deal with? Devale be messing me up, and I'm sorry.
I love you.
Nah, I'm still on the live right now.
I love you.
Breaking my heart. This man just be breaking my heart in the other way.
I love you. You know that. But listen, I'm just real quick, though, because I don't want you to end the live and lose the live.
Okay.
So end is going to say share to profile.
Okay.
And you click yes, and it's going to pull up the story, and then you just write in a quick caption, and then you send it, and it's going to go to the profile.
Okay, but if it doesn't, am I in trouble?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about this later. Love you. Good night, y'all. Thank you so much for watching the show tonight. I see.
Yes.
Okay, let me see. Maybe I'll stay on. Can I stay on for a second and answer some of these questions? Is that possible?
Well, it's gonna in the hour's gonna cut off. So.
No, these are all questions y'all ask me on Twitter. Go to Twitter. Y'all know what it is. Love y'all. Have a good night, and D, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.